Hello, everybody. This is Marjorie Waldo at Arts Garage. I am lucky enough today to be sitting here with Tom Porter and Lou Piccinetti. I think I said it right. Who are two of the band members of Peace, which is an instrumental tribute to the Beatles. We have your show coming up real soon at the end of October, the 31st at 7 p.m. I'm excited, guys.
Us too.
Looking forward to it. I think it's going to be cool. There's a lot of Beatles lovers around here. And I know this is not a cover band for the Beatles. It's inspired by the Beatles, and a lot of the melodies are rearranged, basically.
No.
Tell me.
In a sense, no. We really didn't fool with the melodies, just with the way that, obviously being the guitar player, I'm the one doing the melodies. So all the melodies are like the record. I would say 99% of them. What we fussed with was the way that we're presenting them. We didn't really change the arrangements. There's a few, maybe a couple, a handful that you'll notice are different, but some of them are just straight ahead. Yeah,
Awesome.
No, you can't this music, yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, good. Well, you know about the Beatles Festival every year. It had to get canceled this year, but there's a lot of people around who love the Beatles. I think we even have somebody in Delray. Didn't somebody live here for a while? Maybe still does? Ringo?
That's news to me. If that's true, I didn't know that.
I probably just embarrassed myself on YouTube. So, but I think so. I'll have to talk to Daniel Hartwell, who handles the Beatles Festival, and make sure I'm wrong, not completely wrong. So tell me, why don't you each tell me when you started playing an instrument or singing, or I don't know what all of your talents are.
We have so many talents, I don't know that we'll have time for it. But if we just stay strictly with music.
Okay.
Started playing as a teenager, like most of us guitar players. I play bass guitar. Started playing, I was a drummer. I was most interested in playing the drums back then, but my mom thought it was just a bit too noisy for our house, and so I switched to a stringed instrument. And the drums, as anyone who plays music will tell you, the drums and the bass are kind of joined at the hip. It's the rhythm section, and so the way that I thought as a drummer, I think helped me as a bass player. And so yeah, started playing as a teenager, high school rock bands, and been playing ever since.
It blows my mind how many musicians that come on our stage are able almost to play every instrument in the band. There are so many musicians who play multiple instruments. I was not in line for those talents when I was standing in line. So Lou, what about you? Have you guys known each other since high school?
No, we've known each other maybe 14, 15 years, something like that.
Okay. Did you start when you were young too?
I did. I started when I was 12, and I went to a Jethro Tull concert at Madison Square Garden. And I was in middle school, I guess, somewhere around there, I don't know. And that's where I got the bug and bought a guitar for $26 at the music store. And so that was in 1976.
Wow.
So yeah, been playing a long time.
Wow. And when did you each separately then form your first bands?
Well, for me, it was in high school. I was in ninth grade. And yeah, a classic rock band covering, at the time you covered the Doors and this, the stuff that you listened to as kids, and did that all through almost all through high school. By the time I was a senior, I had started playing with a punk band in Manhattan, in the Lower East Side of Manhattan. It was kind of the heyday of the punk rock scene, and I kind of moved into that scene for a couple of years. But yeah, that was a long time ago.
That's really cool. What about you, Lou? When was your first band formed?
My first band would have been when I moved here to Florida from New York. We're both from New York. We moved down here a long time prior to that. But it was in high school with a bunch of the kids in high school, and I could play a little lead guitar, so I was elected, and we played at school functions and things like that. Excuse me. And I've always had a band since then. And
I suspect that once you get bit by the bug, I don't think you ever put down the instrument. Look behind you on that wall. Are those all yours, Tom? Those are all yours?
This is his room. Yeah.
Oh my Lord. How many guitars do you have, Lou? Is it a competition?
No, it's not a competition. He would win. I have around 10 or 11.
Unbelievable. Okay. All right. So tell me about Peace a little bit. So Peace is an instrumental tribute to the Beatles, again, October 31st at 7 p.m. And what inspired you to put this tribute together?
Well, you want?
Well,
Okay.
Lou, I mentioned kind of earlier, I alluded to, Lou and I have been involved together musically for over a decade. We've done a lot of different things, a lot of different genres. Sometimes we're pretty good at what we do. We get hired by other people to be the backing band. And so we've been exposed to all sorts of things. The Beatles project was something we've thought of. It was probably Lou initiated it, honestly, and something we thought about for a while. But the truth is, it takes a lot of work. You know, some projects musically come together real easily. It's just the nature of the music. The Beatles isn't that. The music sounds simple. When you hear it, it just sounds simple and easily digested and almost primitive, but it's not. For anybody who's ever tried to play it, you recognize that it's none of those things. On top of it, we wanted to do something that did not include a vocalist for a whole variety of reasons. But it made it more complex because while we didn't change the melody lines, which people recognize are the vocals. Well, we don't have vocals. So while we didn't change the arrangements, it took a lot of interpreting for Lou to be able to convey those vocal melodies to something on the guitar. So even though we talked about the project for quite some time, we knew that it was going to be a lot of work, and so we kind of kept pushing it off. The pandemic kind of helped in that regard because, like a lot of other people, we wound up with free times on our hands. So our shows, as you know all too well, have been canceled for pretty much the entire calendar year. And so it just provided the perfect opportunity to do something that we knew was going to be very intensive work-wise. You know, there's work. We're learning music in this way is work. And so we were both, unfortunately, given the free time to do it. And so here we are. So it's been something we've been discussing for a long time, but it came to fruition as a result of it.
So that's one of the benefits of the pandemic. There are some good things that have come out of it, right? And I think the point you made about people assuming, maybe, especially non-musicians, assuming that the music is more simplistically put together than it actually is important, because when you are used to singing along for decades and the melodies are so familiar, it feels easy to you. So it's hard to translate that into what actually happens on the stage when you're playing it. You're involved in a lot of other projects as well, several bands. I don't know how many are active right now. I know about Yacht Rock because you performed here pre-pandemic with Yacht Rock. Tell us a little bit.
Well, actually, Lou's involved in Yacht Rock as well, so we had a great show at the garage. Lou and I both were involved in an 80s tribute band, a rock tribute band. We did about 125 shows in 2019 with that project. But we kind of phased that out even pre-pandemic, just coincidentally. But on the original music side, I've been involved in a band in New York for over 20 years. It's called Phil Barker and the Slam Jammers. And it's all original. It's a Texas blues, kind of like Stevie Ray Vaughan-ish, Jimi Hendrix-y. Pretty aggressive, and so we're still actively involved in that, writing and recording. Our tour this summer was canceled again because of what's going on. And then just last month, actually released an original album with a band called Atomic Fly, which is a kind of an old school punk rock project. And so that album got released. So this kind of pretty diverse, I guess, musically.
Yeah, I'd say that is a pretty broad spectrum of musical taste. It's pretty interesting. Lou, you are involved in how many of these projects? What'd you say?
I said I got nothing.
You got nothing?
Well,
I'd say that's not true.
With like he said, we had a full-time rock band, and we played every week, two sometimes 3 times a week, and we've always had an extra band. I've always had a tribute band. I had a Pink Floyd tribute band for 19 years here in Florida called the Floyd Experience, and before that, Run Like Hell. And so I've always had a lot of that and always tried other things. We've had so many that's the things that work. How many different bands have we tried that did? We had a Robin Trower tribute band for like a day. We had a Genesis band for like a month. So we're constantly trying to find things. And unfortunately, our drummer Peter, who's the three of us are best friends, by the way, in case that didn't get worked into the story, which is why we were looking for something to do together. But Peter has work commitments today, so he can be here.
So we couldn't be in the interview. Well,
Yeah.
you know, everybody always says the expression, they always say when somebody's successful with a band or whatever, they say, oh, it's an overnight success.
Yeah,
Which
no.
is not really true. It
No.
usually means that you've been grinding for a long time before you are recognized for the work. So that's kind of cool. Very cool. Okay, so now I want you to get philosophical for a minute. And I want you to tell me, if you can, and you can each speak to it if you'd like, and I don't care in what order. We believe, Arts Garage believes that music transforms people's lives. Communities, it can transform communities. We believe it has health and psychological benefits. We have all kinds of feelings about the arts in general, not just music. So I want you to speak to the power of music. And I think it's an interesting question today in particular because of the pandemic and because of so much racial inequity and the protests that have come from the response to that. And I don't know that that's what you believe the power of music is, but I'd like to know what you do think it is.
I'll start. I mean, I'm going to absolutely avoid discussing the political parts of this. I'm going to avoid that. But, you know, I see music through my own eyes. And I know that for me and lots of other people, it's really powerful in a lot of different ways. But I also know that's not true for everybody. It's not, it's meaningful to just about everybody in some way, but in different ways. For Lou and I, people like us, it's everything. It's part of every day for us. And it inspires us to be who we are, to do what we do musically. It affects our relationships choices. It affects our work choices. So it plays a huge part in our lives. We know, you know, look back and know that music has influenced people in lots of different ways, influenced to do things, good and bad. Helter Skelter, Beatles, right? I mean, music does influence people to do things, both good and bad, hopefully more good. But it's a powerful force. I mean, it's a powerful force, but again, more so for some than others. We don't all view it in the same way.
I think I see it from the venue side. So the people that sit in our venue and watch the bands perform are some musicians themselves or singers, but they aren't always. They often are people like me who love music, have an ear for talent, and enjoy the experience. But there is something magical about the universal language when you see a group of strangers together engaged in a performance. It's a pretty powerful feeling. It's a really cool high, I think, that people get when they're in the room, you know.
And by the way, I'm not talking about musicians versus non-musicians.
No, I understand.
Playing an instrument is just one of the things that goes along with loving music. It may or may not. But we see, I mean, people come and see what we do, and they'll often, I'm sure you've had too, they're almost apologetic, like, well, I don't really play an instrument, but that doesn't matter. It's what's here. And if music moves you, if it makes you feel something, I mean, who among us hasn't heard a song and it brings you back to a specific time and place?
Absolutely.
Decades ago.
Absolutely.
How does that happen? It's an amazingly powerful thing that it's able to do.
Yeah. So what do you hope that the Arts Garage audience is able to take away from their experience, either live streaming or in person, which we'll talk about in a minute, from your show on the 31st of October? What do you hope they take away from that?
Well, obviously, we hope that they loved the band. They love what we've done. I think here, this is kind of one of the places people will probably fall into one of two categories. The casual music fan who just loves the Beatles will see and hear us and be entertained. I mean, hopefully they'll be entertained and I don't mean in a bad way, in a superficial way. I don't mean that negatively. Just the way they've listened to those songs all their lives. And then there's other set of people who are going to go, wow, that was really interesting. That's pretty brave to try to tackle those songs without vocals because you know them with vocals, and they'll walk. Now they may or may not like what we did. We hope, of course, they like. But I think no matter what, you would come away and go, "Wow, that was really cool." They did something kind of brave and pulled it off. And now they may think, "I'd rather hear it with vocals," and that's a possibility. But it's a very musical interpretation of what people have been listening to for a very long time. So it's just that they come away with a different perspective, because it is a different perspective on these songs.
It's a really cool project. And I think that anybody who saw you either in some of your other performances in Florida or here for Yacht Rock, I think they already know your talent. And I know that they are going to get a good show. So let me talk about the show for a second. So it's October 31st at 7 p.m. That is a Saturday night. You can live stream the show, and we send you the link the day of the show. That is $15 for your household. So if you're home and you've got a couple that you feel safe hanging out with and you don't feel like coming to the garage, you can hang out at your house, turn your speakers on, and enjoy the show live stream for only $15. As of last Tuesday, I don't know what that would have been, the 10th or something, our first live performance for over 6 months was CeCe Tennille. So we are, according to the latest executive order from the governor's office, who approved Palm Beach County's reopening plan, we are in step 1 of that plan as a playhouse with under 400 seats. We have instituted all kinds of additional cleaning precautions. We've trained our staff. Everybody wears masks. Everybody takes their temperature every day. Nobody reports to work if they or anyone in their family feels ill. We're different cleaning for the linens, everything. We've adapted everything. We've redone the seating chart with only 6 top tables, and there are only 17 of them with varying degrees of seats at each to get us at 33% capacity, which, to be frank, is not enough to run shows. It is very much not a business model that would be sustainable. But in an effort for us to continue to be relevant, to serve the people who are not feeling comfortable coming out, they can watch from home, and to serve the people who do feel ready to get out in a mask, they must be in masks the whole time of the performance, unless they're sipping wine. And we're doing table service for the bar, so they can certainly purchase things from a bar. They can still bring food with them if they'd like. Then they can buy a table. Now the tables all cost the same amount. It's the only way we could do it. We can't mix, so if Tom's wife and 3 friends wanted to come and only took 4 seats, we can't take another person, random persons, 2 people to add to the table. So we're not selling it by the ticket. We're only selling it by the table. And so far we've had several people interested in doing it, and I'm confident that we will sell multiple tables for your show on the 31st. Tables are $90 for your show. So I hope you'll spread the word. This video will go live soon, and you can spread it all around and get all the people that love to listen to you play to attend either through the live stream or in person. And I can't wait to see you on the 31st.
Forward to it.
Yeah, we really all look. Listen, just a little plug for the Arts Garage. You know, I'm a fan. We talked about it at the Yacht Rock show. It's great what you guys do. Love that you kind of got through this. You know, you kind of kept your toe in the water, so to speak, through all of what was going on in some way, and kind of first to market with a live show and the live. It's really cool. You guys really do it great. I mean, hope everybody supports you in ways beyond just, you know, coming to our show or watching it. We'll talk about it again that night, obviously, but it's a great venue, and they do really cool things there.
I really appreciate that. We've worked really hard with a bare bones skeleton crew. My staff is unbelievable. That's probably been the hardest thing for me. I mean, of course, I want to keep the venue alive, and we're pivoting, to use that overused term, as much as we can, but we had to lay off so many people. It's an event staff, so we had to lay off so many people. It's just heartbreaking. The people who we were able to keep over the last several months have just really outdone themselves, making sure that we're still relevant and we're still providing content to the community. So thanks for saying that.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to see you October 31st. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Tom, very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We'll see you soon.